Hi again, this is Sammy. I'm just going to do some trigonometry. So solve the following equation for x between 0 and 2 pi. This expression right here. So as you notice, it's sine 2x plus cos x equals 0. This here is a double angle, so I have to change that to a single angle for me to be able to solve this. So the identity for sine 2x is 2 sine x cos x, and then I still have plus cos x there equals 0. Now the thing to do here is to factor out cos x brackets 2 sine x plus 1 equals 0, and therefore cos x equals 0 or sine x equals -1/2. Basically just solving this brackets for 0, you move the 1 to the other side, -1, and then you divide it by 2. Now for cos x equals 0, it's always a good idea to look at your cos sine wave. The cosine wave looks like this. So the cosine x looks like this. This is your pi over 2 right there. This is your pi. And this is your 2 pi. 3 pi over 2 I meant, and this is 2 pi right here. So cos x equals 0 is right here and right there. So this angles right away, you know, x has to be pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. I know some of you that do the unit circle, that's fine. But for grade 12 math, you have to remember how the sine and cosine wave looks like. So if you know how your sine wave and cosine wave look like, then you could just interpolate from the graph what the answers are for cos x equals 0. So that's for sine x, cos x, if they equal 0, 1, or -1, you could just interpolate them from the graph because they're right there. You don't even have to do any work. Now for sine x equals -1/2, this you have to draw the quadrant. All students take calculus, you know, this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Not that matters, but the all students take calculus matter because the sign here is negative, so it cannot be in the first and the second quadrant. It has to be in the third and the fourth. Also, what you have to remember for this is your special angle triangle. The special angle triangle is the 30, 60, 90, and that's 1√3, 2. Now remember 30 degrees is pi over 6, and 60 degrees is pi over 3. So just converting from radians to degrees. Now for me to figure out sine x equals -1/2, figure out what my reference angle here is, all I need to do is just go there and say, and ask myself which angle has a sine of 1/2. Ignore the negative. The negative just indicates that you're in the third and the fourth quadrant. Now you just ask yourself, which angle has a sine of 1/2? Is it the 30 or the 60? 30, the sine of 30 is 1/2. So my reference angle is 30. You don't really need to draw the whole triangle here. You don't really need to. All you need to do to know is which angle has a sine of 1/2, and it's the 30 degrees, which in here we're asked to find the angle in radians. So that's pi over 6. So your reference angle here is pi over 6. And here also the reference angle is pi over 6. Remember in the unit circle, that's 0, that's pi, that's 2 pi. Yes, we know that's pi over 2 and that's 3 pi over 2, but never use those when you're doing these kind of questions. You only need to know the pi and the 2 pi. So therefore, my other angles are x equals, the first one here is going to be going all the way to pi and add the pi over 6. So pi plus pi over 6. And the second one is you go all the way to 2 pi and take away the pi over 6. So that's 2 pi minus pi over 6. Pi over 1 is the same as 6 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 plus pi over 6. That's just going to give me 7 pi over 6. And 2 pi over 1 is the same as 12 pi over 6. If you want to do common denominator, 12 pi over 6 minus pi over 6 is going to give me 11 pi over 6. So here's my, or here are my answers. So basically, this is the answer for that one. Okay, so I'm going to do one more like this. I'm going to leave the special angle triangles there. We might need them again. So the next thing is that I'm going to do is cos 2x minus sine x equals 0. So this is a double angle as well. And cos 2x, if you remember, cos 2x could be written as cos squared minus sine squared xx, or it could be written as 1 minus 2 sine squared x, or it could be written as 2 cos squared x minus 1. Now, you're not interested in this, and you're not interested in this. Definitely you're interested in this one. So you change that cos 2x, 1 minus 2 sine squared x minus sine x equals 0. And why we're not interested in this? We don't want to mix cosine and sine, because what I was hoping for is this to become a square trinomial, and then I could factor this. So what I'm going to do, though, I never like the negative to be in front of here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shove everything to the right side, and that automatically that negative 2 sine squared would change to 2 sine squared x, and that becomes plus sine x. On the positive one, when you move it to the right side, it becomes minus 1. Now this factors into factors into 2 sine x minus 1, sine x plus 1, because if you FOIL this, you get 2 sine squared, and then plus 2 sine minus 1 sine will give you the positive 1 sine there, and then negative 1 times 1 gives you negative 1. Factor it any way you like to factor, whatever method you use. If you use decomposition, go ahead. If you like to change this into 2x squared plus 2x squared plus x minus 1, and you like to do that first, that's fine. Whatever method you're happy with, just do it and get me this. Okay. Now from here, I know sine x equals 1/2, and sine x equals negative 1, because that negative 1 will make this 0. And if you make the sine x 1/2, then we'll make this part 0. And so therefore we have these two here. Now, I don't need the sine graph. I'm going to need, I don't need the cosine graph anymore for this question. I'm going to need the sine graph. So I'm just going to get rid of some of this. And the sine graph starts at 0, goes to a maximum, come back to 0, goes to minimum at negative 1, and then goes back to 0. So that's how my sine graph looks like. So sine x equals negative 1. Very simple. Negative 1 is right there. So the angle is 3 pi over 2. So you just interpolate that from the graph. X equals 3 pi over 2. And then for this, the sine x equals 1/2. You have to do the quadrants again. Sine is positive right here or right there. Remember, all students take calculus. The angle that has a sine of 1/2 is the 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. So my reference angle here is pi over 6, and here is pi over 6 as well. And so this is 0, this is pi, all the way around is 2 pi. As I said, you don't need the pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2 to do these kind of questions. So the first angle will be simple, just x equals pi over 6. The other one will be x. So you have to go all the way to here, which means you go all the way to pi and take away pi over 6. Pi minus pi over 6. That's the same as 6 pi over 6 minus pi over 6, which gives you 5 pi over 6. And therefore, here's my answers for this question right there. Okay, so thanks for watching again. Stay tuned for my next video. Till next time, bye-bye.